Hello, welcome to our channel. Welcome those of you who are new and those who are returners. We're talking day by day from a little booklet titled Kamatthana. It's available for free download as an ebook on this channel. I encourage you to follow along and to use the book for your inspiration at other times. Today we're on page 14. Nothing is accomplished in life without desires. Right wanting is the path. So, simply stated, we can't get out of bed if we don't want to. We may say, I don't want to, but if we get out of bed, then wanting to get out triumphed over not wanting. Wanting to bathe or do the laundry or clean the house or go to work. These are essentials, wanting to take good care of the body, etc. These are the kind of desires that are essential to us walking intelligently and wholesomely on the path. So in the beginning, we're not trying to live a life without any desires. We're trying to notice the kinds of desires we have that contribute to our welfare and our success on the path, and which desires, in fact, are a hindrance to us, form obstacles to us, take the mind away from Dhamma instead of towards Dhamma. We can only know this, we can only see this if we're practicing mindfulness very diligently. We have so many tens of thousands of thoughts every day. Most of them are garbage. So we have to wake up to that, notice which thoughts are not wholesome, and let go of them as quickly as we notice them. It says, if you remain idle, you remain ignorant. So again, it's not that we never do anything. We're not going to be successful at any endeavor in the world or in the spiritual realms, just sitting and waiting for some a spiritual being to intervene in our life and change it to our satisfaction. The Lord Buddha has right effort as one of the essentials in the Eightfold Path. He does not say, just understand that you are Buddha nature and that's all you have to do. No, the path is arduous, it's painful, it's difficult, it's challenging. So that is the path. The path is whatever arises in consciousness in the present moment. That's the path in the present moment. And how we work with it determines how much we have understood about the path. The reason we cannot exert at full capacity is because of our fear of difficulties. I've heard so many times people say, it is just too hard for me. It's I can't do it. Maybe I don't have the karma. Maybe in another lifetime. It's painful to sit for longer periods of time. My mind is so distracted. On and on and on. This is the enemy taking control and convincing us we're not worthy and we don't have what it takes to be successful. So the commitment to walk on the path requires a growing commitment to overcome every and all obstacle. The next sentence says, fear is the byproduct of self-consciousness. Well, wow, we could talk for several days about that. What it means is, briefly, very briefly, is fear is just another form that the enemy takes, another weapon that the enemy takes. When I use the word enemy, I mean thoughts and emotions that discourage us or block us from practicing the pure Dhamma. We can call them kilesa. They take other forms. We say sankharas. We say avidya. There are these various Pali vocabularies that attempt to describe all the different ways the mind has of presenting concepts to us, beliefs to us, starting with the fundamental belief, the belief that starts all of our suffering, the belief that I'm a person. I have self. I have self-confidence. I have self-consciousness. So fear is one of the forms that the concept of self takes as a way of discouraging us from undertaking a project which is, in fact, quite difficult. If it were easy, frankly, everybody would do it. It would be all done. If it was as fast as a fast food drive-in, we could get it in 5 minutes and be done with the work. However, it's not easy in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. There is an effort that must be made. It's quite an intense effort, and it feels like I am the one making that effort. There are teachers who say, that's wrong. That's wrong effort. Don't make any effort. Just accept that you're already perfect. Well, in fact, if Buddha nature is a truth, and we're all endowed with Buddha nature, we can say, yes, my true nature is Buddha nature. But saying it doesn't make it a living reality. So even Lord Buddha spent 6 or 7 years working almost to the point of death, trying to break through the delusion that he was somebody whose name was Siddhartha Gautama, a prince destined to be a king. He had to break the delusion of self-consciousness. The aspect of Buddhism that appeals to me and resonates and seems most essential to me is that it is a practice. It is not faith-based. We do not just declare our faith in some teaching or some historical figure or some divine entity and relax, just say, okay, now I've done my work because I believe such and so. In Buddhism, there is a path, and it implies that we should walk that path. It implies there's a goal, and the goal is worthy, and regardless of the difficulties we may encounter walking or practicing the path, we can have some confidence called faith. We can have some faith that Buddha was not lying. He was not a trickster. He has not led us astray. In fact, the culture of being a person is the entity or the belief system that has led us astray from finding real happiness. So when you are fearful, even about something in the world, maybe there's an actual existential moment where a fear is a natural response, a life-preserving response. Still, we have to be as mindful as possible so that we can have the most inspired, the most divinely inspired response to that fearful situation as possible, which also includes the possibility that this may be a moment when I die. Everything dies. All things that take life die. So I'm no exception. And let me die with the most peaceful, composed, forgiving, compassionate mind that I can muster in the present moment. That doesn't mean just total surrender. It just means we do everything we can to preserve this sacred life in every situation, and at the same time we are internally preparing ourselves for whatever consequences are in store for us. Okay, that is the conclusion of the way that we practice certain concepts that we need to be mindful of so that we're practicing in the way that Lord Buddha teaches. This next section, the practice of Dhutanga, is a forest monk tradition. It's not the tradition in many other schools of Buddhism. And I'm going to go through this section rather briefly because it applies to monks and not to lay people. But there are many concepts here that we can employ in our daily life and maybe should employ in our daily life to live a more conscious life and one that is the greater blessing to us and others. The first one is use only patched robes. So don't go to the store and keep buying something new if something has a spill on it or there's a little tear. Maybe it's a little frayed around the collar. If it's serving the purpose of keeping you warm, protecting you in some way, it may still be useful and possibly, or it may be time to recycle it. Use only one set of 3 robes. Well, you can imagine how much we would have to donate or recycle if we only had 3 choices in changing our clothes. So again, this applies to the monks, but we can employ the concept of when we have little, use little, and if we have much, use little. We can employ the concept that being greedy and imagining that we always need more new stuff, maybe we need to wake up to the ways that tricks us in our day-to-day life. Going for alms, that's morning. The monks go around the town, the community, in the morning to receive the food for the day. Originally, and still in many forest monk temples, the monks eat once a day. They eat after sunrise and before midday. They eat what has been offered to them. They're not allowed to go to the store and buy their favorite foods. That means they also eat meat or fish that may have been donated to them. They don't get to choose what they eat. It's up to the people who are supporting them with these morning donations. They decide what they'd like the monks to have. This is another way of discouraging our desires and our cravings. When we go to the grocery store, it's almost entirely a list of things we want, and the monks don't have that luxury. Not by bypassing any donor on the alms round. So they can't get mad at somebody. They can't not like somebody who's standing out there ready to give them something for their morning meal. The concept is that the monks are not begging. It's not because they're lazy or stupid. The concept is they're providing an opportunity for others to be generous. And generosity has the highest importance in the tradition of becoming a really good person. So the monks are doing people a favor by providing them an opportunity to share, even if they don't have much to share. Very common that some of the poorer people just give one small scoop of rice. It's not uncommon that a monk might go on his alms round and get almost nothing but rice. Refusing any food offered after the alms round. So after they have returned to temple, eaten their breakfast, washed their bowl, and then somebody shows up late, so to speak, wants to donate some sweets or some fresh fruit or whatever, the monk in the Dhutanga tradition is not allowed to accept that food and eat it at that time. So once they have stood up from eating their meal, they do not accept any other food. Living in the forest monk tradition, by definition, they're not living in the city, they're not living in the town. They're trying to live as close to nature as possible. Living under a tree. Originally, these rules originated a very long time ago, and there weren't that many temples to take refuge in. So a monk would just go out in the forest, maybe find a big tree that protected him somewhat, and that was home. He didn't have to cook a meal. He could toilet in the forest, and that would be good enough. Living under the open sky, that's another option. Living in a cemetery or a charnel ground. We don't have charnel grounds now, but briefly they were where poor people who could not afford the price of firewood to cremate the dead body. There was a place outside the village where they just, you might say, threw the body. They just left the body on the ground, and animals could utilize it. That's a charnel ground, and there's a meditation practice for the monks to go to those places and meditate on their own mortality by observing what happens to the body after death. Being content with whatever dwelling one has. So they lived in very simple, primitive huts, usually the local people, some village men who knew how to build these things would, if they saw a monk in the area, they would go out and chop some bamboo and other shrubs and bushes and create a simple little hut for them. Nowadays, there are enormous donations being made to even the forest monks, and they can often live quite comfortably. But some of the forest monk temples that I'm familiar with, at least in Thailand, are still providing only the most basic structure for monks to call home. This last one is there's a meditation practice where you never lie down. It doesn't mean you don't sleep. You may sleep, but you sleep sitting up. And I'm not sure of the intention of this practice other than constantly refusing to be concerned about how comfortable we are. Usually we don't sit still in normal circumstances for more than about 1 minute, possibly 2 minutes. If you notice, as you become more mindful, we are constantly shifting our weight, moving our hands, our fingers. We're scratching, we're rubbing, we're touching some part of our head, shifting our legs, etc. The body is very restless, very, very restless, and this suggestion that we don't lie down when we sleep is also a practice where we may wake up many times during our attempts to sleep, and each time we wake up, we become mindful of our posture. We're mindful of the movements we're making to adjust our posture, and we're mindful of the content of our mind, whether we're complaining, whether we're not complaining, etc. The last one here is wearing robes or clothes made from rags counteracts price, ostentation, pride and excess, greed, love for beauty, and haughtiness. Well, when I see on the internet or on the news the clothing that people spend money on, $10,000 handbags, thousands of dollars for a pair of shoes, etc. I saw a man with $1 million watch. These behaviors are just considered normal in the secular world, but they don't have a value in the spiritual realm. Simplicity and humility are virtues. The not being greedy, not having to have the latest fashion are all considered virtues. For the monk, he doesn't have a choice of what he wears. He can wear a robe, and that's it. If he's going to a wedding, he wears a robe, or a funeral, he wears a robe. If he's going to class or school or shopping or whatever he's doing, he wears a robe. So it really simplifies his life, and by shaving his head or her head as a nun, they eliminate the vanity that is often associated with hair or facial hair. So the idea is, let's see how simple we can make our life. Let's see how much that having things actually doesn't improve the quality of our life. And by that I mean the inner quality of life. Certainly driving to work and not walking is an improvement in comfort, and certainly not suggesting that we don't drive to work. Just let's see how much peace of mind, how much tranquility, how much equanimity, how much loving kindness and compassion do we have related directly to stuff that we bought, and how much we may have in the future if we don't have it now, if we turn all of our efforts to examining our own mind with the intention of opening the heart. So the last portion of this page is a monk's possessions. Now again, monks don't build houses, they don't have to pay utility bills, they don't have to cook their meals, store food in refrigerators, etc., etc. So, and yet they're alive every day, the same as us, and let's see what is considered items of necessity. A bowl, 3 robes, a bathing cloth. That cloth is hardly bigger than a washcloth. An umbrella, tent. They carry an umbrella, and once it's inflated, they can drape a mosquito net around it, so they can sit on the ground. They hang the umbrella from a tree branch, sit on the ground, and are protected from most insects with the employment of the mosquito net. A water kettle. They're allowed to drink after 12 o'clock in the day. They're not allowed to eat solid foods. So they can boil water, they can make tea, a water filter, a razor. They must shave twice a month, minimum, on cycles of the moon, shave their head and their beards. The nuns as well shave their heads and their eyelashes. So they need a razor. They can have a pair of shoes, sandals. Nowadays, it's just a cheap pair of flip-flops, most commonly. A candle lantern. They can see at night. They often practice walking meditation after dark, and it's important to have some light to see where they're going. Try to prevent them from stepping on poison snakes or scorpions, other obstacles on the path, and a shoulder bag. So those monks who practice Dhutanga, that's what they carry. Most of it fits in the shoulder bag. The razor and water filter and bathing cloth can fit inside the bowl that they have. So they can walk down the road from place to place with just these simple items. So that's the conclusion of page 14. I thank you for your patience if you've made it to the end. If you feel there was any benefit to you or there might be benefit to others, please consider touching the like button and the subscribe button, so this Forest Dhamma tradition and the Dhamma of the Lord Buddha can be spread. Thank you.